welcome, Liam.
Yeah.
So what are we coming to talk about today?
So I've come to spook the Koori League Challenge. So that's what we've come up with. It's not a replacement for the pod system that Adam was running last year. It's its own initiative. But that's what I've come to talk about today.
So basically, because you're a Pokemon fan, this is what it come about.
Yeah. So back when the Victorians were starting to tease their release of their Kanto League, when they put up the teaser of the gym badges, I immediately was struck with some inspiration. Basically, like I can't believe that it's taken us this long to think of bringing this to Middle Earth in terms of like traveling around and meeting challenges. But I did take a different twist on it because I basically thought, well, what's the point of going to these different gyms in Pokemon? And it's to get stronger.
Yep.
And so I thought, rather than having people apply to be gym leaders who are going to try and win at all costs, I thought about developing a system where each gym leader has a bit of a challenge, and you're encouraged to meet that challenge and grow as a player within the community.
Fair enough. Look, I know that once you told me about it at work, was pretty keen to join up. Also, no, I do like to win, but I can accept losing. I think it's a great idea to try and encourage more games being played, and certainly try and build up the skill set of New South Wales players. Mm-hmm. Like we have a number of tournaments. We have some really good players, like the Colwyn's out there. But if everyone could play at Colwyn's level with an all-mounted cavalry force, it's like good luck to the other states when they come to play.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like we're actually in a really good place in terms of Middle Earth community. I have been in the community long enough to hear about it's going to die several times now. But our numbers are strong. There's actually some support in terms of books and miniatures that are coming out. And so the idea of taking the players that we have and helping them develop, not just in that once a year where you might play somebody at a tournament, it's about trying to get those more regular games and meet those challenges, because particularly when you're facing lists for the first time, they can be scary, and you can easily throw away a comfortable game because you don't know how to handle that.
Yep.
And so that's one of the aspects that we try to bring into this, is just saying, hey, here is a challenge that you can meet in basically a risk-free environment. Try a new strategy. If it doesn't work, you're not going to lose a tournament because it's just a game against your gym leader.
And it's pick the brain of that gym leader to try and work out how to get around that challenge. Like I know Andrew Coleman is literally basically begging people to challenge him. He'll give you the force if necessary. He'll explain his strategies on how he'd use it to beat you. And then he wants you to employ that against him.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't ask for more than that. Trained by the master himself.
And that's the other thing about this, is that gym leaders will also be developing their skills, because they're going to get to know this play style that they've chosen very well. And so it's just another thing in their arsenal that they can use if they choose to take that to tournaments as well.
Yeah. Well, I know I chose the White Council, and I got to play my first gym game last weekend, actually. It was not as good as I would have hoped, because rather than have my challenger bring a list solely for the purpose of defeating me, it was another gym leader. So we were just facing off against each other, and I had to face a lot of goblins. Mm-hmm. And by a lot, I mean it was 50-something goblins to start with, and he had the goblin scribe and brought on more with my 5 models. So that was a challenge.
Yeah.
But I guess he had the right tools to beat me. I did not have the right tools to beat him.
And that's the other thing about this, this gym challenge, is the sense that it's actually in your interest. If you can get organised and face some of these gym leaders early, then they are less prepared with their own lists. Because
that is very much the case, because I had to read the rules on a number of my special rules for that White Council list. Yeah. I was like, oh yes, I get a banner if I'm within 3 inches of so-and-so, or I can re-roll this. And what did he do? He brought the water in the water up in the middle of them all and scattered them well and truly more than 3 inches from each other.
No, I'm glad that people are already taking to, because not everybody owns the counter army to every style that exists. But it's nice to see that people are thinking about list building, whether they're bringing a consistent list that they want to try against each gym leader, or whether they're going to tailor their play styles and try something new, or borrow an army and take up a challenge.
Now, there's a number of ways that I guess you can approach it. If money is no object, then yes, buy a new army for every gym.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could try and get a balanced list. I think some of these might be very difficult to defeat with a balanced list because they are very good at what they do.
Yeah.
And some gyms, I think you don't even get to bring a list.
Yes. So there is one gym, so that's Daniel down in ACT, who will actually supply a list for you. So you know what list you're versing. I believe it's the Dragon Emperor.
That is, yes.
And you will be given one of 4 lists to try and take it apart. It's
that's going to be a challenging one, that one, because they are not the optimal list to take that apart.
They are not. So, as I said to Daniel, so it's some interesting concessions that some of the gym leaders are doing in terms of, if you're meeting certain tasks, they might give you an easier game. So I know, for example, Daniel lives down in ACT. Most of New South Wales is in New South Wales. So to mitigate driving 3 hours down there
and 3 hours back just to get whichever one you get,
an army list that you're terrible with, and then driving 3 hours back. I believe there's some kind of reselection.
You get to have a reroll for which one of the 4 lists you get to play with. It's just one reroll.
Yes.
I think Chris Tott's actually got a number of those sorts of concessions. If you bring the right sort of things, he's willing to play down in terms of banners. So essentially he's playing down in points.
And I think that's important, not only for the gym leaders to have their own flavour in terms of, hey, I'm bringing monsters or heroes or cavalry this, but also saying, look, this is an aspect of the hobby that I really value. And if you can show that you're working on those values too, then you might have an easier game.
Yeah.
Because it's
like paint your first army, I think, is one of those criteria for him. It's like, I don't know if I've ever completely painted an army, so I might still qualify.
It took me 8 years to finish my first painted army. So
we can't rush these things.
Perfection takes time, and we're clearly working on it. But I do want to actually give a shout out to the gym leaders. I'll name them in a second. But I want to thank them for stepping up and taking on the role of basically teacher and educator. They are all pillars of the community in their own right. They have names and faces that we see a lot on the social medias or at tournaments. And I really value the fact that they have said, I want to help people be better at the game, but also we're not here to, sneak dice and that kind of thing. We're modelling behaviours that the community expects of us and that we expect of the community. So we can make sure that there's no hidden pockets, not of bad behaviour, but of maybe habits that people have gotten into where they're trying to play quickly for the sake of time, but it might look a bit dishonest if you can't see dice and those kind of things. So we're just making sure that we are being...
Well, it's important to, like you say, model the right behaviour. 6 inches is 6 inches. It's not creeping out an extra half inch or an extra inch or suddenly it's an inch and a half extra. That's not what we want to see at an event. We want to see, hey, Swift plays fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
But honest play.
Yes.
In the spirit of it.
In the spirit of the game. And that's what I really want to thank the gym leaders for coming out. They've already started doing some gym battles. I believe as of last night, there would be 3 or 4 badges given away so far.
I think you might be a little off there, Liam.
Yeah.
I think some gym leaders are a little slack in putting the paperwork in.
Message me, yes.
Because I'm pretty sure right here last weekend there was more than 3 badges exchanged.
Well, there you go. Excellent.
We had Andreas played Luke, and Luke. So Andreas' army was one of his all-hero armies. He bought his Revengers, and Luke, in the spirit of that, tried to make an all-hero dwarf army to take against the Revengers, who are Mirkwood Rangers with Randall and Legolas. It did not go well for Luke. To his credit, he tried to play in the spirit of all hero, and he picked Storm the Camp, with the veto system.
Oh.
I did mention that was the worst. He said, "Oh, you had to go across the board no matter what." I'm like, "Yes, but not diagonally." There was no worse scenario.
Diagonally is a long way
It
across
is
that
for
board.
dwarves. And Andreas rolled exceptionally well. I think he had a few down before they even got close. So that was one. I played Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian had the Watcher, the Goblin King, and Goblin Town with the Scribe, and I think he had 3 or 4 warbands of Goblin Mercenaries.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just goblins everywhere for me. And we had to play with the river, so I fought the Watcher in the river.
It's always a bold strategy.
Yeah, it worked really well until the very last term, actually, because he never got an attack off with the Watcher until I was literally out of models and magic.
But yeah, speaking of gym leaders, I'm just going to quickly name them. Yep. So I thank you. There's a lot of A names. So thank you to Adam, Adrian, Andreas, Andrew C, Andrew L, Andrew M, Andrew M, Chris, Daniel, Jonathan, Kishan, Luke, Michael, and Scott.
Yeah, so 1/3 of the gym leaders is Andrew.
Yes. 1/3. Half of them are A names, which, it's an interesting level of diversity. Yeah. If you want to work down the gym leaders in alphabetical order, I put them in alphabetical order in the document for you.
By first name or last name?
By first name.
By first name. Okay.
Otherwise, the A's aren't together. So I will mention that this gym leader challenge is free. There's no cost to participate.
Always the right price.
But also at this stage, that means that prizes are minimal. So if there's anyone in the community that is participating or a business that would like to donate something, I'm more than happy to take on those. Because the plan is for people who have gotten 8 or more badges, and that number is subject to change. It won't be changed more than 2 months out from the final event. But those people who have qualified with enough badges will be invited to an event in December, with the idea that will help work out some gym leaders for the future seasons. So hopefully that this all goes well. It's starting well so far. We can take this to new and exciting places.
I mean, you mentioned that currently no real prizes, and I know they're not produced yet, but the whole point is if you win and earn that gym badge, you will get a physical gym badge token.
Yes, so the idea is that we've kind of got a little bit of a team together that are developing those badges, and so we're going to hopefully have those physical prizes for people who have beaten each of those individual gyms, and hopefully we'll be able to unveil them in the next little while.
So they're under development?
Yeah, they're in planning at the moment, and hopefully we'll get some more work done with the designers and get them out to people so that they can start actually showing things for their victories.
Yeah, because, let's face it, you kind of want to collect them all, right?
Oh, yes.
I know that's not that I'm a Pokemon fan, but that is definitely where my problem's going to lie, is I'm going to have to travel around the countryside until I have them all.
The gym leaders are going to be very popular come about in November, I imagine.
Yeah,
everyone
I
goes,
bet.
crap, I still have 12 badges that I need to try and find and collect.
Or I'm too short for entry to the final. Or
yeah, so it's, as I said, it's this is the first time we've run this, so it is in development. So if there is feedback to be given, please feel free. But I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for more games. I've already got one under my belt. I still have to paint my Radagast on Slay, so we can film those. Actually, to be honest, we did film it, but we can't ever air it. Too much crap was talked about by too many people that they all unanimously decided I can never air this.
Yeah, that's fair.
So if you challenge me in the future, make sure you only talk about things you don't mind going on the internet forever.
Yeah, just make sure you sign the NDA beforehand.
Exactly, that's where I failed. All right, what else can we talk about, Liam?
Oh, I'm happy to talk about whatever.
Well, I think there are some big tournaments coming up, and you probably know a bit about one of them, Clash.
Yeah. So
in case you got some dates, or
yeah, I actually do have dates. It's the. Let me just double check the exact one. No, it's the weekend in say April that's between everything.
I was gonna say if it's August, we have big games.
So yeah, Clash will be on April 15th and 16th.
Yep.
And I imagine that the players' packs will be out shortly and tickets following that.
School holidays, I assume.
School holidays will be the middle weekend for New South Wales. I haven't
probably the last weekend for Victoria.
I
or
haven't
something.
been nice enough to check when they are for fellow states or even New Zealand, but they're more than welcome to hop across.
Fair enough. Josh running it again this year?
Yes, he and I have spoken. He's looking forward to it. And,
players pack out yet, or
players
soon?
pack coming soon.
But you would imagine it's probably got a lot of similarities to previous ones.
I think Josh's packs are fairly consistent, so I don't think anyone would be expecting huge surprises.
Yep.
But of course, everyone's thrilled to find out what exactly the points will be.
That's right, because we need to make sure we build some armies to maximise that. Well, look, I think there was a pretty big turnout last year. I mean, we've had COVID issues and more COVID issues. But hopefully a return to some very high numbers.
Yeah, hopefully. As I said, people seem to agree with me that Clash is one of the premier events, not just in New South Wales, but in the country. So it's really nice to have people coming around from different states and joining us for that. It wouldn't shock me if we have to pressure myself and Anthony to get some more tickets. I know I'm still working, at the CO level, but I gotta.
Right. Sure so which event got the most tickets last year? Was it 40K or was it Middle Earth?
I believe it was Middle Earth.
That's what we like to hear.
I haven't double checked the numbers since last year, but I didn't remember 40K trying to brag, so I'm sure it was us.
Fair. That would be a dead giveaway. For the record, though, I think it's worth mentioning that Legion had the most awesome prize pool I have ever seen in a freaking tournament. Your financial expectation was phenomenal at that event.
Yes, you were expecting quite a high return on your dollar value. So I know that they worked closely with Anthony in regards to developing some terrain.
Yep.
In terms of some 3D printing and some laser cutting for that, and they look phenomenal. So I know that Anthony wants to showcase some more of his terrain.
Well, I know he made a lot of terrain for the Middle Earth tables and really wanted to showcase that. I think in conjunction with a 3D designer that he works closely with.
Yeah, so I believe it's in Lovecraft.
It is.
I'd be annoyed if I get the name wrong. And there's actually a Kickstarter that's out at the moment.
He has a number of Kickstarters. I've backed most of them.
Yes, I do love a 3D print. So I know Anthony does a lot of work for him in the creative scene and painting them up.
Anthony still has a Patreon.
Yeah,
I think the models are designed by Ian for that.
So yeah, Tech Adept Crafts.
Yep.
You can go them. They're fantastic. I follow them, and I know that there's a lot of sculpts from their Patreon that are highly sought after.
Yes. I know Adam has at least backed it in the past. If he doesn't still back it, and has printed things from it. So no, there's some really nice bits there. I think Anthony's almost single-handedly got all the tables we need now. Hardly had to borrow any last year. So
I know that Anthony and the Cherry Brook Tech Adepts for many years have been making sure that they have high quality terrain.
Yep.
So that even came back from the scratch built days when everything was made of foam and cardboard and the like. So that was an interesting skill to learn while I was a member of the Tech Adepts, and that's not changed today when Anthony expects lots of nice high quality terrain at his tournaments, and he delivers. So it's really nice to see what will come out this year.
Yeah.
So it's April 15th and 16th for Clash.
I'm sure I'll be there.
Excellent.
And you'll be running it.
I'll be around. You'll definitely see my face.
Not playing.
No, not this time.
Have you won it?
I've never won a Clash. So I played the first year I was involved in Clash. I played Warhammer Fantasy. I think it was 7th edition at the time. It just changed into 8th. It's been a long time now. And the year after that, I started TOing. So I started TOing at 14.
Okay, so start 'em young was Anthony's philosophy.
Well, yeah. Originally, every single event was run by a student.
Oh, well, that's actually really good to encourage their growth.
Yeah, so it built the leadership of all the different students in the club. And I got thrown in younger than most, but that's because we knew that Lord of the Rings at that time had such a fantastic community. And that's one of the things that keeps me back in the hobby.
It still has a fantastic
community,
right?
Community. It is just top tier. I absolutely love.
Well, you travel interstate quite a bit and
yeah,
stay with other players, you know, just to get to those tournaments.
Yeah, it is a goal of mine this year to hit a tournament in every state.
WA, always the elusive one.
WA is always the elusive one.
One day I think New South Wales is just going to get their crap together and en masse go over and try and steamroll.
It's a bold year to try and make that happen with the special events in December for me, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, well, I actually know that they recently put up one of their events.
Yes,
soon.
I saw that one, the 500 point. I want to say Burning of the West.
That's what it is, I believe. Yeah. So look, I don't know if I'm going to make it, but I do hope some people do.
Yeah, like it.
And they got some ridiculously good numbers.
Yeah, so all credit to the WA scene and the fact that for all the smack talk that we do to the different states, they've come across to New South Wales, but it's been a while since the New South Welshman went across to WA. So.
Absolutely, and they've grown their small population, large area, but their Middle Earth community is massive.
Yeah.
I certainly think they're the state that puts the most effort in to their league.
Yeah.
Hey, Adam, I know you try very hard and you put lots of effort in, but they have more people. And last time we had a national league, they had numbers 1, 2, and 3. So I can't really fault that.
There you go.
I think other big event coming up a little bit later, which we don't have confirmed dates or venue for, is Masters.
Very much looking forward to that.
Which will be run by Adam Jenkinson once again.
Yep.
I'm sure he'll deliver an event worthy of the name. He always digs deep, goes above and beyond. A lot of people don't really see the work that goes on behind the scenes from the TO of any event.
Yeah.
But in particularly one where you're trying to pull multiple interstate people, we're trying to have multiple sort of, I guess, almost competitions within it. Like, you're trying to have painting and you're trying to have an event. It's hard to judge both. Adam virtually had an offside at TO last time. Yeah. It's a hard task, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the thing that, you got to shout out all your TOs at every opportunity because without them, we don't have our events. And the effort that goes into running an event, like we start planning Clash, like for example, it runs in April. We usually have our first meeting
in May.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah,
least
probably a debrief, and then
I say it's usually just the top brass, but it takes a lot of effort. And one of the things that I really like about Adam and Adam's events is the fact that he's always listening, and so there's no suggestion that he's not willing to at least hear out and consider and think about how that can apply to his events. And so that's why I've never found Adam's events stale.
No, you're always trying to grow and try something new. I mean, there's another team event coming, I think in March or April, but venue, etc. is not confirmed or points, but keep watching.
Absolutely.
The New South Wales community page, which is a recent sort of initiative I think started by Adam and yourself, one of the admins.
Yeah, so I'm part of the admin team there. It's been a while since I've been an admin on the social media. I was one of the founding Australian both ones, which was great fun. I love the fact that the community's getting involved. We're seeing work in progress Wednesdays.
Yeah, Adam's trying to push that pretty hard. Make sure he's got something fresh each week.
We're seeing people post their terrains, some shots of their games. It's just really nice to have a space to connect to the hobby. That feels a little bit more local because I love seeing stuff on the Australian Middle Earth page, but a lot of the time when I see someone post a meetup, I'm like, I'll never go to that. I don't live in your state.
It's in Melbourne, and I can't make it this weekend. On Friday Arvo.
So it's really nice to see those posts, and I think the community will continue to grow throughout the year. And it'd be nice to see where we go.
Well, I think another little pod of area that's really taken off is up north, relative to Sydney. Like Andrew Medbury seems to be leading the charge there. It has a lot of local players to his area coming to some events. He ran. You didn't get to go.
I didn't get a chance to go to that one.
No, I didn't get to go either. I just had surgery, but I hear there was some really good armies there and a lot of new players.
Yeah, and that's what I love at events is the chance to meet new people. And so a big shout out to Andrew and a thank you for being one of our gym leaders. I'm sure that there'll be people travelling up north to come and see you and get involved. I know he's got some special events planned throughout the year.
Yes, I think one with scenarios, sort of specific stuff, because I think that's the theme of his gym.
Yep.
And I know that he's been making a lot of terrain. One designs the stuff, prints the stuff. But I think he's there's a new Kickstarter out, not Andrew Medbury's, but there's an Andrew Medbury miniature associated with it. If you're back to the first 24 hours, the slice and slot.
I did see the slice and slot Kickstarter, so good luck to them. It's always an interesting.
Within the first day, he was well over 12,000.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because as much as we love our miniatures and we love painting them to various degrees, it took me a long time to appreciate painting. It's very sad to have to play on a bare board.
Yeah.
So as much as you can slap down a mat, or you can print out something on your computer and go, oh, this forest bit here is all forest. It's just not the same if you don't have that 3D.
That's right. I mean, look, and if you have a 3D printer, that's great. A lot of us do. But this one, you can actually just back the Kickstarter and he sends you the resin bits. Mm-hmm. He'll send you some foam bits if you don't even know how to do that. And his little, Brickmaker 2000 or whatever it is. And you can just slap it together in no time yourself. And the beauty of it, if you don't follow the template exactly, you're going to make a very unique piece. Yeah. With 3D printed, 20 people will have the same piece. Might be painted differently, but this one, the door will be in a different spot, the window will be in a different spot, the walls will go a different way. And I love that. It's almost like building with Lego bricks.
Yeah,
and I love that.
That creativity, that a little bit of individual flair, and that's something that people really like to see in our hobby. Whether it's painting a model a slightly different way, or doing your conversions, or building your terrain certain ways. It's really nice to see that our hobby continues to be multifaceted. It's not just put your miniatures on the table, roll some dice, see who wins at the end of the day. And so that's again a fantastic community that keeps me coming back.
Well, I know that there are a few tables from all over the state of New South Wales heading to Canberra very soon for CanCon.
Yeah.
In fact, it's this weekend.
This weekend. Time flies.
Which would make it in just a couple of days.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's taking it, but I know Andrew Medbury has like a slice and slot table. Because I've seen the pictures. Whether he's taken that one or some of his others, I don't know. But you'll see some of his terrain. Adam Jenkinson's going. You'll see some of his tables. I know that he's been working on more tables. I don't know anyone that has more tables than that man for Middle Earth. Although Anthony Felton must be getting close.
Yes,
but they're more generic.
Yeah. I think it helps having a games club where you can have some storage.
Yes.
Because one of the things that I struggle with, I have very little terrain. Like, where do I store it? Yeah. So I really respect the people who are efficient in what they can put into a box and how they are able to still supply such large amounts of terrain.
That's why Adam's going to build a new shed just to store terrain, in addition to the garage.
Excellent.
But we should see some really nice terrain at CanCon. And that probably kicks off the first of the... It's not New South Wales, but it's within New South Wales. So it's the first of our tournaments that a lot of New South Wales players are going to go to. Although they do have a special guest from Victoria, I believe, coming.
Oh.
Yeah. So basically, I think we're going to see a Coleman on the podium.
Yeah.
Maybe two.
I heard that. So it'll be interesting. I always love, when you're busy and you can't make a tournament. I love seeing people posting up the photos of the games. I always love a battle report. I did try my hand at one of them last year during the Pod League, and I might try my hand at them some more this year. But yeah,
I think you'll see a lot of those hopefully with the gym games.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. So
even just the feedback straight, which the general public don't see, but feedback within the Discord chat is almost like a little mini battle report for most of them so far. A little bit of a
summary.
We might get some AI to do some soon.
Maybe. Absolutely.
But actually, there's one other big announcement I think for Middle Earth. Andreas has got a painting comp coming. Obviously, I'll be crap at it, but you spent 8 years working on honing those skills.
They might be getting better. I don't think they're prize worthy yet, especially given some of the fantastic painters we have in New South Wales. But I do think that it's really nice of Andreas to bring this initiative forward because a lot of the painting competitions that are larger, particularly global, it's really hard to get entries in from here.
Yeah.
So the logistics are just tough, and so I appreciate the effort that Andreas has gone into trying to collaborate with each state, get a rep from each state, and see the talent that's buried, somewhere in the Northern Territory. Maybe we'll find out.
Well, it's funny you should mention the Northern Territory because once the announcement went out, I immediately contacted Andreas and suggested that I might find myself with a Northern Territory address because it's the only way I'm possibly going to get an entry, get to the next sort of phase. Because the competition in New South Wales, I know, will be pretty fierce.
Mm-hmm.
Look, if we take Andreas out, I mean, there's a little bit of a shot there, but other notable painters that I'm sure are keen would be Jade would be keen.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to him in a while, but I'm sure he's keen on winning any painting prize. Mike Kerr's probably keen.
I've seen a little bit of what Andrew Lemire's putting together, and so
yes,
it's looking good.
But I've got a little diorama and a few models, yeah.
But this is the other thing. We know that there are these painters out there that we admire, and it's only by seeing their work that we, can realise, hey, my painting's come a long way, but wow, that's good. I'm going to try and do some more stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to see.
And most of those painters are quite happy to share some of their ideas and techniques, or even as simple as for me, these are the contrast paint colours that I used.
I'm not on Instagram, but most of the good painters are on Instagram. You can find them and see some of their work.
I'm also not on Instagram, but I believe they are there.
Yeah. So look, it's a long journey for most of us, and that's the beautiful part about this hobby is that you can engage in different ways, and so it'd be lovely to see some people who have never come to tournaments but have been smashing out dioramas just because that's the part of the hobby that they love.
Yep.
And so I don't know when entries close.
October, I think.
Okay.
Or maybe that's the end. I think it's October, and the announcement's after that.
Yeah.
It's a huge window, though some people are getting in early, like you mentioned, Lemire.
I
want to see the calibre of the competition so I know which commission painter I need to pay.
But I was saying, if you don't get in early, it's one of those things where most of us go, oh crap, the tournament's in 2 days.
Yeah.
Oh crap, the entries are due in 2 days. What can I smash at in that time frame?
But yeah, I think you're going to see some really, really well painted Middle Earth miniatures.
Yeah, and
not just from New South Wales, not just from Australia. Like New Zealand's involved.
Yep.
And I know that when I've seen some New Zealand players come over here, I've seen some really good painting. Yeah. And I don't think that was the best that they have. I don't think he bought his best army.
That's one of the nice things about travelling is like when I go down to Victoria for CLI, I often see some of the South Australian.
They don't generally come that far.
But the South Australian works, and it's just really nice to see what they're putting on the table because it is different. It's nice to see not just the different armies, but the different paint schemes, the different conversions,
and the different skill sets.
Yeah, because and this is the other thing. Like, not everybody likes the same paint style. So whether you're doing non-metallic metals. Yeah. Or whether you're using your contrast paints, or whether you're doing all your crazy blending, freehand weathering stuff, all the power to you. It's really nice to see something that's different to mine.
Yep. That's it. I mean, you get such a wide variety in Middle Earth. even New Zealand, which is Middle Earth, has such a wide variety in its landscapes. Like you can sort of pick any generic fantasy thing, and there's a spot that kind of fits, doesn't it? You know, like it's
There are very few color schemes that are off limits.
Speaking of colour schemes, though, there is a tournament coming up where there are specifically points awarded in the painting scheme for having a non-traditional colour scheme. Like, and that's going to be interesting. It's almost like paint a new army, unless you just so happen to have one that you painted differently.
Yeah, and this is the thing that I love the creativity of different tournament organisers where they say, you know what, this is going to be a focus. Because when I first started the hobby, most of the tournaments were pretty much the same. Like you had an overall score that was about 50 to 70% battle scores, and then the remainder was made up of a combination of painting scores, your sportsmanship, and
soft scores.
But even there was also, you got points for theme as well amongst that soft scores. So it's really nice to have tournaments branch out. I know some tournaments do purely battle scores and they do other prizes separately, but frankly I don't think there's a right answer as to how to do that, because it's really nice to say this tournament is specifically about blank. We're gonna do that.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm all about the hard scores and not the soft scores for my own tournaments, but I think that those tournaments with soft scores absolutely have a place.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Personally, I'd love to just play a day or a weekend of battle companies. Have good versus evil, that's a great, or just play scenarios. All those things would be great ideas for me. I don't think that those things should contribute to a ranking per se, because that's about how well you play the game. But absolutely, when it comes to paint, if it's a painting competition, I'm going to lose unless I bribe someone. Andreas has already been approached.
Yeah.
Adam's been approached for his painting competitions.
Adam's
far more open to bribery.
Yeah, that shows.
You mentioned $500 sword. FYI, anyone, if you want to do well. But no, look, there's a whole bunch of nice competitions. Also, you mentioned some of that sort of fluff on theme. I think Andrew Medbury's, as a gym leader, one of his little fluffy bits is if you write like I think it's one paragraph or a couple of sentence backstory on your generic captain that sort of, I think, matches the miniature that you've painted up and used, he's going to reward you with able to bump the stats up on said model.
Because obviously,
from a variety of options.
Andrew Medbury loves a bit of a conversion and a theme.
It's almost like he makes his own like STL files.
It's almost like it's a part of the hobby that he really values, and he's instilling in others. So yeah, it's really nice to have those unique changes to some of our gym leader scenarios. And
just playing with a profile that has some little extra tweak to it. I mean, the first tournament I remember playing that had something like that was one of Ian's tournaments.
Yes.
And you used to be able to stick like a little sticker under the model, and that model was...
it was a sergeant?
Yes, that's what it was. And they got extra, like, I don't know if it was fight value, courage value. So it was a minor little thing. But you didn't have to reveal it until that model was in combat.
Yeah, it's
so you might go the whole day and not tell your opponents where that model was, or it might come out in the very first combat. But it's just like, oh, I've just got this little card up my sleeve, bam, that was really good. And then Adams had something similar where you got to design your own captains. I know some people really trying to abuse that system, Liam. You know anything about that?
Look, abuse is a strong word. I just tried to make the silliest thing possible, which of course
were you limited on how silly you could be in the end?
There was a limit.
Yes.
But boy, was the all-Warg army with the Wild Warg Chieftain Shaman absolutely stunning.
Was it painful for your opponents?
No. It's never painful. They've got such low defense and courage. They're easy until they're chewing through you because they have a 6+ fury save and they're all fearless.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, minor technicality. Yeah, but exactly. No, it was a good initiative to try something different.
Look,
and you get the same thing with the battle company sort of event. So and Kylie's run at least one of those. Probably got messed up with COVID, but that's always good to see.
I do love seeing different things. So I know Jack and I have an event that we've got some pen and paper on and fleshed out. We're just going to finalise some last details. But look, if
and that's in addition to the league event.
That's in addition to the league event. And let me tell you, if you've ever wanted to go to an event that's different, this one will be very unique.
Very unique.
Very unique.
I'm intrigued. I'll probably have to go.
Yes, it'll be a fun day. Whether it'll
do I have to paint my own models?
Of course not.
Okay, well,
the fun is on the day.
When might this event take place? Roughly.
We'll have to wait and see. Probably mid to late. Okay. Other established events.
Yes. Masters doesn't even have a date yet. Yes. So Adam was considering moving it back to July, and now he's considering keeping it in October and having another event in July.
Well,
I tried to remind him. He said he was going to throttle back on how many events, and I'm like, dude, that is not throttling back. Trying to have 2 major events, but that's Adam for you.
Yeah, but exactly, and it's just a testament to how much people love the game. They're willing to put the time and effort to let other people play the game.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, poor Adam doesn't get to play in many events.
So people need to challenge him as a gym leader so he gets to play games.
Yes, well, he played a game on the weekend against Luke. I believe in the end, Adam managed to pull out a victory. But I think it was a very close game. And it was Maelstrom scenario. So that's always going to be rough. I, of course, if I challenged Adam, had my Isengard army with Lurtz out, ready to counter such shenanigans.
I have a soft spot for the Maelstrom scenarios because they're silly.
They are silly, I agree.
But at the end of the day, I like stuff that's silly. I like the fact that you need to either have a mitigating factor, like my Masters list had Madril in it, and boy, did Madril pay off in that scenario. And
that was my other idea to take against Adam, but I would have had to borrow that list from Adam, so that wasn't really going to fly with Adam.
Play yourself, it's fine.
But yeah, I guess but that's it is, isn't it? Like you got to think about the gym leader's army that you're going to face, and what can you do to sort of get around their little
the gimmick.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Like Adam's making that list where you're wise to take a Madril, you're wise to take alerts, or you're wise to take something that has only one warband. I think he has a stipulation you have to have 2. So just take Sauron and who cares? That's always fun, I hear.
Just take nothing that deploys on the board.
Yeah, that could also work. But look, there's quite a variety of gym leader lists out there, I think.
Yeah, I will thank the gym leaders for their flexibility. We did try to have, not everyone being the same theme, the same gimmick. So some people
because 12 lists of Black Riders might have been painful.
So yeah, I do thank those people who were flexible in terms of what they were bringing to the season. But
that's the Chris Tots out there, by the way.
Yeah, he was absolutely incredible. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to what the community will do with this event over the next 3, 6, 12 months. And so
I know you probably shouldn't be biased here, but who are you tipping is going to actually get the most badges in the quickest amount of time? So either the most or get the full 12 quickest.
I think it's full 14.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's
14.
Yeah.
Got more gym leaders than I expected.
I think it will probably be either Andreas or Andrew Coleman, but also that will depend on how much they're working.
Yeah, I think Andrew Coleman's going to start teaching this year.
Yeah,
so
welcome to the club.
Yeah,
it sure is a club. But
maybe we should see how many teachers are on the list.
Well, that's the good news. So people wanting to challenge gym leaders. School holidays look like a pretty good time.
They are a good time, yes. Weekends maybe sometimes, but school holidays very good time. Look, I'm tipping Andreas simply because he will not have the working restrictions of Andrew Coleman. But I think Andrew Coleman deep down is going to want all of them.
Look, I think that's part of the.
That's funny how they're both gym leaders.
I want all of them too. So part of my.
You got to start playing games, Liam.
Let's call it quality control. I go around and I'll play everyone.
Yeah, and I guess then Emily just has to accept that that's just one of those things you have to do as a TO. It's a requirement. It's not that you want to play 14 games.
Yeah,
you have to play.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with selling it that
Thanks,
way. And if it's successful, please share. But all right, anything else that you'd like to throw in? I mean, we've talked about just about every event that's coming up. We mentioned half the players, half the gym leaders. I guess if anyone out there would like to throw some sponsorship the league's way, contact Liam and or Jack.
Yeah, contact.
They'll happily take it
in the players pack.
I think yet to be announced, but you're getting a level of sponsorship, I'm sure, in some of that badge design. Yeah,
there'll be a little bit of we're obviously going to contribute to those wonderful designers, but it will be it's still being discussed.
Would you be opposed? Not that we've discussed this, but if those people that want to challenge gym leaders and quite happy to get gym badges and collect them all and probably want to make themselves a little collector book or something, if they wanted to just throw in some money or models or bases or anything that they wanted to contribute, you would not be opposed.
No, to this, absolutely. Right? We've got some at least certificate prizes in mind at this stage, but if we are able to support those with physical prizes or digital prizes, depending on what's being donated, there's no problems with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you play throughout the year, you get a badge. Hopefully, it's a pretty badge and it's painted up.
Yeah, it's
by a half-decent painter.
It's all community supporting community. This one because there is no entry fee. There is talk of doing a design that might house all of the badges that you might be able to purchase, which would help fund.
Well, how about that?
But
so it is like the wall-mounted collector sort of thing.
The balance too, So we're still finalising exactly what that will look like, and how that will go out to people.
I imagine if this is successful, it'll probably continue again in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
With different badge designs, so they're unique through 2023.
Yeah, so that's the thing. If you are holding out and going, I'll get the badges next year, the badge designs are intended to be different.
Yeah, I mean, look, probably a lot of similarity with some, but something that distinguishes it
as being a 2023.
So they're a limited edition, highly sought after collectible.
Yeah. And just like first edition Pokemon cards, eventually they're worth far more than they originally were.
Yes. So that leads me to now the following problem. Am I able to challenge a gym leader more than once to collect their badge multiple times?
You are allowed to challenge multiple times. There is a ranking system of, in terms of priority for challenges.
Peck an order on who gets here.
But you do not obtain a second badge. No.
Okay, so no one's going to be selling these badges on the black market. No. It's going to be, you won't have a spare.
Unless the gym leaders have spare at the end. They might sell on the black market.
There might be some collusion going on, but
no, this is an opportunity to get involved this year, and if you miss out this year, so be it. But the hope is that this will go well, and we can refine it for the following years, and keep bringing this hopefully exciting event to the state and beyond.
Well, to my knowledge, the person that's currently in the lead is Luke, on a grand total of 2 badges, and he's handed out 3 of his own.
Wonderful.
So he's leading in both regards.
Hey.
So Luke, you are a champion as of today, the 19th of January. Good luck holding that lead after the weekend. But no, thank you, Liam, for sharing all those thoughts. And I hope the league is a success.
Thank you. Yeah, it's lovely to come on and chat to you, and looking forward to seeing you around the events.
You will see me at some events, yes. And maybe I'll even talk to some other gym leaders. Who knows? If they can make the trek out this way.
Maybe.
All right, thank you.